Okay, folks, Rich Van Tassel back with you, finishing up our early games for the Week 6 recap. San Francisco 49ers dropped to 0-6. They are going to beat the Cowboys next week because they're not going to go 0-7 yet. I'm just furious with the Cowboys at this point. Washington Redskins now 3-2, 2-1 at home. San Francisco 0-4 on the road. C.J. Beathard came in for Brian Hoyer, not much better, 19-36, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Brian Hoyer for 1134 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions before we got pulled. Carlos Hyde did get a bulk of the carries in this game, was not very effective, 13-28, 2.2 yards per rush, 2 touchdowns. However, Matt Breida, 4-21, 5.3. Raheem Mostert, 1 of 16. C.J. Beathard, 1 of 14. The team, 20 of 85, 4.3 yards per carry. Aldrick Robinson, 2 receptions, 66 yards. Pierre Garçon, 5 of 55. Carlos Hyde, 5 of 47. George Kittle, 4 of 46 in the receiving game. Jimmy Ward recovered a fumble. 1 sack. Solomon Thomas for the 49ers. Rashad Robinson had an interception. No kick returns. Trent Taylor, 1 punt return, 39 yards. Robbie Gould, 1 for 2 in his field goals. Again, you lose by 2 points, and you have the missed field goals. So, a lot of missed field goals today. And Robbie Gould is another guy. He's like automatic. So, a lot of the guys who usually make weren't. Kirk Cousins, 25 of 37, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Chris Thompson, 16 of 33, 2.1 yards per rush. Kirk Cousins, 4 of 26, 6.5. He had a touchdown. Samaje Perine, 9 of 23, 3.6. Jamison Crowder, 1 of 11, 33 of 94, 2.8 yards per rush, 1 touchdown. Very, very interesting. You're winning a game with those running numbers. You run the ball 33 times and don't even get 3 yards per carry, and you still manage to win the game. When the other team scores 24, just shows you how San Francisco is finding ways to lose, but they won't find a way to lose against the Cowboys. The Cowboys will find a way to lose that game. Chris Thompson, 4 receptions, 105 yards. Vernon Davis, 3 of 65. Ryan Grant, 3 of 39. Jordan Reed, 4 of 37 in the receiving game. Trent Williams recovered a fumble. Vernon Davis lost a fumble. Chris Thompson fumbled. It was not lost. 3 sacks. Preston Smith had 1. Matt Ioannidis, he's a Greek name. I'm calling his name a lot. He's having a lot of sacks. I want to see how many sacks he got. He had 1.5 in this game, but because I'm always having trouble with that name. Oh no, he's only got 2 sacks, so I don't know. Maybe he's recovering fumbles, or they probably didn't count the 1.5 up to this point. But I'm always seeing his name a lot in these box scores. Kendall Fuller had an interception. Computer just can't record the video. Kendall Fuller had the interception. Jamison Crowder, 1 punt return, 6 yards. There were no kick returns. Dustin Hopkins, 2 for 2 in his field goals. Now, Dustin Hopkins missed some extra points that allowed San Francisco an opportunity. San Francisco scored a touchdown to get it to 26-24 with just under 2 minutes left. Decided to go onside kick. They had 2 timeouts. Did not make much sense to me. They were able to actually, Washington punted the ball into the end zone, so they got it at the 20 and got it close. There was an offensive pass interference penalty, but if you just did it the other way around, they would have been well within field goal range just kicking the ball deep. So I'm a little surprised by that. San Francisco is struggling this year. Let's see what Beathard can do. He's got the Cowboys hapless secondary next week, though, so he'll definitely figure it out next week. As for the Washington Redskins, Kirk Cousins, again, is playing very well. I'm a little surprised with the running game. They have some good guys like Perine, who they drafted. Rob Kelly has been hurt. Chris Thompson has looked good at times, but they've got to start to figure out what they're going to do with the running game. But their defense is pretty good. They made the plays when it mattered today, but they still gave up way too many points to the San Francisco 49ers. Chicago getting the victory, 27-24 over Baltimore in overtime. Mitchell Trubisky, 8 for 16, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So take what you want with those numbers. You know, they weren't great, they weren't bad. He is a rookie. He shows flashes at times. Mitchell Trubisky is a guy you've got to judge off of what he does on the film. You can't really do it with the numbers. But he does, you can see the flashes with this guy. Tariq Cohen threw a pass and completed it for a touchdown. Jordan Howard, 36 carries, 167 yards, 4.6 yards per rush. He had a 53-yarder. He broke loose in overtime. Mitchell Trubisky, 4 for 32, 8 yards per rush. Tariq Cohen, 14 of 32. The team, 54 carries, 231 yards, 4.3 yards per rush. Wow. You don't see that high in carries very often. Deion Sims, 2 receptions, 42 yards, a touchdown. Kendall Wright, 2 of 36. Zach Miller, 2 of 25, and a touchdown. Danny Trevathan recovered a fumble. Mitchell Trubisky fumbled twice, lost one of them, recovered 2. Tariq Cohen lost a fumble. Cody Whitehair fumbled, it was not lost. 3 sacks. Pernell McPhee, Akeem Hicks, and Danny Trevathan. Adrian Amos, Bryce Callahan both had interceptions. Amos returned his 90 yards for a touchdown. Tariq Cohen, 3 kick returns of 67 yards. That's a 22.3 average, longest of 37. Benny Cunningham, 2 of 38, 19 average. Tariq Cohen, 2 punt returns for 37 yards. So he had a good return day. Eddie Jackson, 2 of 16. Connor Barth, 2 of 2 in his field goals. And, of course, the game winner in overtime for the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco. Now we've really got to start to wonder about the guy. 24 of 41, 180 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's throwing a ton of interceptions this year, and they ran the ball way too well, so I can't give Joe Flacco a pass in this game. We've got to see. Maybe that turnovers are starting to become a problem. Alex Collins, 15 for 74 running, 4.9. Javoris Allen, 10 of 49, 4.9 yards per rush. 26 of 125, 4.8 yards per rush. The running game was not the problem. Chris Moore, 3 of 44 receiving. Mike Wallace, 3 of 30. Benjamin Watson, 6 of 28. Michael Campanaro, 3 of 24. C.J. Mosley, Michael Pierce recovered fumbles. Max Williams lost a fumble. 4 sacks. Will Henry, Terrell Suggs split one. Matthew Judon had the other. No interceptions, so I was wrong. I expected Jimmy Smith was going to get one. Bobby Rainey, 5 kick returns, 191 yards. Longest of 96, however you take that off, that's what, 4 of 95 after that. So he had a 38.2, 4 of 95. That's pushing 25 yards per return, so he was playing well all game long. Those numbers are high, obviously, with the 96 yards, but even without that, very good. Michael Campanaro, 5 for 172. He had a 77-yard punt return in this game. You take that off, that's 4 of, what is that, 55, which is 11 yards per return, so the special teams were terrible for Chicago. Justin Tucker, 3 for 3 in his field goals. Baltimore, look, we just discussed Joe Flacco. They've got the running game, so he's got to limit those turnovers. The defense is playing well for the most part. They did not play well running the ball in this game. They were down a lot. They were down early in this game. Those special teams touchdowns allowed them to get back in it. That's why Chicago was able to run the ball as much as they did, because they had the ball a lot, and you're getting quick scores in that regard. So Mitchell Trubisky, like we said, he's going to have his growing pains. He's going to have games like this. You don't really judge it off the numbers. Certainly when you watch the guy play, you see flashes of what he has. And then Detroit, 52-38. I said that correct, 52-38 over the Detroit Lions. Or New Orleans got the win. I might have said Detroit earlier. New Orleans up to 3-2. Detroit drops to 3-3. New Orleans and Atlanta have the same record. Matt Stafford, 25 of 32, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's been pretty poor these last 2 weeks. Amir Abdullah, 14 carries, 54 yards. That's 3.9 yards per rush. Theo Riddick of 8. Matthew Stafford, 2 of 4. The team, 19 of 66, 3.5 yards per rush. Marvin Jones Jr., 6 of 96 receiving, a touchdown. Golden Tate, 7 of 96, a touchdown. Theo Riddick, 5 of 45. TJ Jones, 3 of 33. Darren Fells, 2 of 26, the other touchdown. So the distribution is still there for Matt Stafford. It's going to be there all year. Ezekiel Ansah recovered a fumble. Matthew Stafford lost 2 fumbles, so he got 5 turnovers. That's how you lose 52-38. Jamal Agnew recovered a fumble. No sacks. Sean Robinson had an interception returned to 2 yards for a touchdown. Darius Big Play Slay had the other interception. Jamal Agnew, a 24-yard kick return. Zach Zenner, 20-yarder. Jamal Agnew, 4 punt returns, 106 yards. Did have a 74-yard touchdown. That's got to be a second. He had one against the Giants. He might have 3 this year. Matt Prater, 1 for 2 in his field goals. Now, Matt Prater is a guy who will miss at times, unlike Matt Bryant, Gostowski, and Robbie Gould. Drew Brees, 21 of 31, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Adrian Peterson out, no problem. Mark Ingram, 25 of 114, 4.6 yards per rush, 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara, 10 of 75, 7.5 yards per rush, 37 of 193, 5.2 yards per rush. There was just no... It should be the Detroit Lions, because there was absolutely 0 D in this one. Ted Ginn Jr., 4 receptions, 66 yards, 1 touchdown. Mark Ingram, 5 of 36. Michael Humanamananui, 2 of 27, and a touchdown. Brandon Coleman, 2 of 23. Craig Robertson, Marshawn Lattimore recovered fumbles. Mark Ingram lost a fumble. Kenny Vaccaro fumbled once and recovered a fumble. 5 sacks. Alex Okafor, Von Bell had 1 Cameron Jordan at 2, Craig Robertson another. Cameron Jordan's a guy who gets sack numbers, very underrated guy. Marshawn Lattimore, 27-yard interception return. Cameron Jordan had an interception return, no yards for a touchdown. Kenny Vaccaro, 1 interception for 11 yards. So 2 touchdowns, you lose by 14 points. I mean, Detroit was just terrible in this game. They almost came back and won this game, too. They were down huge. It was a bizarre game. Ted Ginn Jr., 2 kick returns for 36 yards. Ted Ginn Jr., 2 punt returns, 6 yards. Will Lutz, 1 for 1 in his field goal. So Detroit, they've got to settle that offensive line down. They've got to stop turning the ball over. Clearly, they've had these 2 bad weeks. Let's see how well they respond moving forward. For the New Orleans Saints, their defense is actually playing better and ranked higher than I even thought. They did not play necessarily that well today. Their offense wasn't even particularly good. I know they got 52 points, but you got 14 of them off of turnovers, and Detroit was setting you up all game long. So, granted, 7 of the points that, 14 of the points that New Orleans gave up came from special teams and defense. So New Orleans, if their defense continues to develop, let's see what happens with this team moving forward. Certainly Drew Brees can do it, and they've really found that running game. And Kamara is running the ball very well, so they're not missing Adrian Peterson. All right, I'm not going to be home for a little bit, so we're going to do the recap of the rest of the games later on. I got to do the NBA previews probably. I mean, don't be surprised if they're coming right as Tuesday come. I'm pretty busy, but we'll get those to you as well. Be sure to stay tuned. Thank you all so much. Remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well. Thank you.